And now, another exclusive interview from Regional Entertainment News. Please be sure
I wanted to thank you for letting me conduct the interview with you today.
Oh, absolutely, man.
All right. Well, I want to say this is you've been together for 10 years, and what age did you really decide that both of you wanted to become a musician?
You want to handle that, JD? I'm trying to think. Well, for me, it kind of, it's just always been something I wanted to do, or I always wanted to be involved in music. When I was a kid, I loved lugging the speakers out to set them up for a dance, and just wiring together sound systems and stuff like that. So that's kind of how my bug got piqued, and so that led me to recording school, and I played in bands in college and whatnot, but I never really anticipated that I would actually be able to play for I guess a living, and so I always was going for another route. But that's how me and Billy got introduced in the first place, was because I worked in the studio, and thankfully for meeting him, he asked me to play music with him, and it really in the back of my mind, it's what I wanted to do all along, but given the opportunity, and then somebody of a like mind that we are very influenced by the same things, and the same kinds of music, it just was a perfect fit. And so now 10 years later, we just keep going, and we still have that same inspiration and love of the things that we were influenced by originally, and so we have a constant well of things to draw from, so we keep doing it. And so I would like to just keep doing it as long as we possibly can.
I was wondering, because you've been playing music for a while, and you've also got to tour a lot of famous musicians. Have you got to sit down with any of them, and maybe have they given you any advice?
Well, we're pretty close with the guys in ZZ Top, and we've opened for them quite a bit, and they've always, I've known those guys for over 30 years, and they've always been, real helpful about things, but not so much advice, because we've all been doing it long enough to not need advice as much as we just need support, So they've always been there for us when times were bad or whatever.
Oh, you have amazing music though. I've got to sit down and listen to the samples that you sent me.
Oh, cool. Well, thanks, man.
Do you remember this would be the first song that each of you wrote, or how long it took you to finish it?
Wow. Well, the first real song I ever wrote, I think I was about 12 or 13, and I wrote it in about an hour, and it was called Head for the Hills. And I can't remember exactly what it was about now, but I remember I did it with a friend of mine, and we had a band, kids, a little kid band. The very first song I ever wrote, I was like 3. It was just me, banging on the little Roy Rogers guitar my uncle gave me, and I sang. I had one line sang over and over and over, which was "cat shit on a rat box." You probably can't hear that, but I just sang "cat shit on a rat box" over and over and over. I have no idea why, but that was the very first song. That's pretty deep, man. That's right. You started off strong. Yeah.
What gives you the most happiness about playing live?
Well, just being there with the fans, it's like just the immediacy of it, You make a record, and nobody's around. It's a solitary thing, and you work together in the studio, and don't know if it's day or night. But then when you actually get to hear and see the reaction to
maybe some original songs that the people don't even know, and if they react to something they've never heard before, then it gives you a good idea if you've written a decent song. And we're pretty interactive with our fans, and with the people who come to the shows, that aren't fans yet. We try to be pretty interactive, so we enjoy being around the people.
I want to say, are there any goals, because you've been with the Boxmasters for 10 years, that you're still trying to break or go through?
Well, I think we're always, we always feel like a band that, is kind of just getting started. It's, we've made a lot of music together and all that, but, every record, every tour, we're still a fledgling band. We're still fighting the fight of, trying to get our music heard and, get people to come to the shows. So,
Everything just takes time.
It's never easy. So but every little bit of ground you gain just gives you that extra push that it's like, oh, this is working. We just keep at it, and things get better. So we have no plans of slowing down at all. We've got more songs that we're working on every second, and so we got stuff to say. And Billy's always got a song started, or an idea that is going to become a song, and so he's he never runs out of ideas, and so we always have things to write, and things that have meaning and to us. So we need to get it out of us somehow. So that's how we use music.
You kind of have to, no matter how successful you get, you still have to have the mindset that you're just starting all the time. You have to pretend you're a garage band are all 19 years old your whole career, because that keeps you dreaming, and it keeps you hungry, and keeps you working hard. And you can't sit back and rest on your laurels. In other words, you got to always make like you're a brand new band every day of your life.
I was gonna say, do you have a set time of year that you work together, or is it depends?
It just depends.
Tour in the spring and fall, yeah, usually.
But it just depends. It's like when is a good time. We just find a little window that we can tour, and then as far as when we write, we try to do it as often as we can. But with our families and other work things, that sometimes is a few weeks in between. So, but we try to get together as often as we can to just keep at it, and we don't want to do anything else, so we do it as much as we can.
Billy, this next question is for you. How did you acquire your Gretsch kit and your Silver Sparkle Singular kit?
The Silver Sparkle Slingerland kit I bought from a guy in Alabama when I was doing. They were doing a festival down in Muscle Shoals area in Florence, Alabama, and they had a sort of all-star lineup of different guys down in the Muscle Shoals area playing at this concert, and I was there to do another thing, but I was at that festival, and they asked me to sit in on drums on a couple of songs, and I did, and it was on that Silver Sparkle kit, and I liked them so much I bought them from the guy, and we were on tour pretty soon after that, and we just put them under the bay in the bus when we passed through town. And the Gretsch kits, I have a green sparkle, a gold sparkle Gretsch kit, and those were made for me by Gretsch.
Oh.
Playing those shows would leave on.
Exactly. Also, we've made a point on a bunch of tours to record new music in either legendary music places or studios, and so we've had the chance to record at Sun Studios in Memphis and Ardent Studios in Memphis, and also in Muscle Shoals. We did some songs, and just being in those buildings where the legends and our heroes have recorded, has a special meaning. And we haven't always had the greatest results, in those places, but at the same time, I remember sitting in Sun Studios just bawling, just looking at the pictures, just because it was so emotional. And so to me, that's a highlight that I'll always remember.
I wanted to say, we're approaching April. Does the Boxmasters have any plan to release a special vinyl for National Record Store Day?
We're not planning on doing anything special, but we are going to have, finally, I believe, we'll have vinyl copies of, a bunch of our records available. I know I saw a test pressing picture of tea surfing, and fingers crossed that we'll have the actual, records with us, on the tour. And, we're big fans of Record Store Day, but, it takes so long to get something prepared, in advance that we were so busy with trying to get tea surfing and the tour together that we just didn't have time to make a specific special thing for Record Store Day.
I was going to ask, for your next album that's coming out in the fall, are you going to do something with Kickstarter, maybe to let your fans interact and try to help out with the album process?
No, we tend to, we use money that we, make from selling our other records to fund the, the next one. So, the way people support our, continuing output of music is by buying our records. But, I know, people interact with us, via Facebook and, Twitter and whatnot, quite a bit. And even if it's, somewhat, who knows who's exactly answering the questions that they might have. It is always us, and we don't have a big machine behind us, working, turning the gears or anything. But the main way that people support us is by buying the records, because that allows us to make more.
Right. Is there any venue that you would like to play that you haven't played yet, or have you pretty much covered most of them?
Oh, there's plenty we'd like to play, sure. I mean, we've played a lot of places that we love that we go back to again and again. But we even played the Grand Ole Opry, even though we're not a country band. But yeah, that was a big deal. But I'd say, I'd kind of like to play maybe the Beacon Theater in New York someday. That's a good one. We played the Fillmore in California, so we managed to do that one. But and we also played Red Rocks. So yeah, I guess maybe the Beacon would be a dandy to be able to play sometime. Fox Theater in Atlanta, yeah, it's another one.
I wanted to say, you guys do one charity show a year, and all the money from sales go to the charity. Could you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's for special needs children and adults in Huntsville, Alabama, and the people who run the place, Alan and Deborah Jenkins, they're just really great people, and they are also the owners of the venue where we play in Huntsville called Merrimack Hall. So it's a concert venue, but they also have a school there for special needs kids, and we always do our show there for the charity for the kids. We play there every tour, and
it's really one of our highlights. Yeah, it's one of our highlights. It's one of the main things we look forward to, on our tours, because we are really inspired by the kids. Last time we got to go to their music class, and they played us some songs, and it's really special, just seeing people that how much the music means to them, and how much it affects them, and you can't help but be affected by them and their love of it, and so we really get a lot of meaning from that show, and it's all amazing people, and we really really enjoy spending time there, and then we also go to the NASA museum that's there, and we always come home with all sorts of gizmos and whatnot.
I wanted to ask you, Andrew, that you said you have a 66 P bass. Do you have two of those? If something happens while you're at the show, you have a backup?
Well, yeah, Billy owns the bass. Now, that one we only use on the records, and I play rhythm guitar on the live show, just because I can't sing and play bass at the same time. It's just physically I'm not able to do the two things, and so harmony singing and bass playing to me just don't make sense. But our bass player Dave Fowler, he has a wide array of basses that he brings out, and just yesterday he picked up a 1973 Rickenbacker bass that he's going to be bringing, which we're really excited about. And I've got a couple of Rickenbacker guitars and a Telecaster, and Kirk has a variety of other Strats and SGs and other things that he's going to be bringing. So we all make sure that we have everything that we need to do the job, and we have backups, because I did have a guitar fall off of a stand a couple years ago and break its headstock off. So you always have to be prepared. The show must go on, and people don't care if you broke your guitar; they want to hear you sing.
I believe this is the second time you're performing at the Hard Rock.
Did we do the Hard Rock before, JD?
I think it was 2 years ago.
Usually we play Cains Ballroom in Tulsa.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I don't think we played that Hard Rock, because it's pretty new, and I think we've talked about it before, and maybe it didn't happen, or something in the scheduling was wrong or something. But I know it hasn't been around all that long, and I know we're looking forward to it. My sister-in-law had her wedding reception, I think, there, so I know that they're coming up from Dallas to the show, because my brother-in-law's sister lives in Tulsa, so it'll be a good time. And but yeah, we've played Cains the last couple of times we've been in Tulsa, so, and that's always what an amazing place that you guys have there, and the whole Tulsa, the whole rebirth of the downtown area is really exciting, because the time before that we played Tulsa, it was still kind of a scary little area that you didn't want to walk around in, and then the next time we came back, here it was all reborn, and most of the people were going to some other English band's concert at the big theater down there, but we still had a good night over at Cains.
Oh, Cains is historic, and a lot of people enjoy playing it.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Okay, I wanted to ask that you already have your album coming out for the end of 2017. Is there any other plans you have that you're going to be announcing for the year?
We do have something. It hasn't been formally announced yet, but I believe in May there's going to be the release of a Boxmasters based graphic novel, and there's a writer and his artist have come up with a graphic novel based kind of loosely on the Boxmasters, and we didn't have any input into it. They just said, hey, we want to do this book. Is that okay with you guys? And so we said, okay, sure, why not? And so we've seen little bits of the art and a little bit of the story, but we don't know a whole lot about it other than it'll be out right after the tour, of course, and so we can't bring the books along to sell them. But I believe we'll have copies of the cover, so at least people can get the gist of what the book might look like. So we're excited about that because it's a whole new realm that we're going to be involved in.
I noticed when I was looking through some of the information you sent me, you were recently at NAMM, or a music convention.
Yes.
How did that?
We played at we played for the 60th anniversary of Vox amplifiers. They had a little room, and so we got up and we played a few songs. Because Vox is a brand of amplifier that is very near and dear to our hearts. It's the amps the Beatles played, and so that sound is just ingrained in our DNA, and so we're lucky enough that we are able to play the same brand of amps as the Beatles did, and so it's a big deal. And so they asked us if we could play, and so we happily said yes. Of course, we'll come.
Well, speaking of the Beatles, you've actually covered the Beatles, the Who, and the Stones. Are you working on more of their covers?
We kind of stopped doing covers. Back when we had a studio, in Billy's basement, we had the ability to record whatever we wanted, and if we didn't have a song written that day, we would record a cover just to kind of keep us inspired. And now we don't have the luxury of a studio or crutch of a studio or chains of a studio, as you might say. We have to pay to go to record our music. So usually at those times we have the songs written, we know what we want to do, so we have to make use of our time because it just costs so much money to go record music. So we have to be very task minded with what we have to do. So playing songs for fun isn't usually involved in that process.
And I wanted to, when you're at the Hard Rock, will fans be looking for a 90-minute set or a 2-hour set when they see you in 2 weeks?
Well, we're usually contractually obligated to do 75 to 90 minutes, and it's very rare that we only do 75. Because we're just getting warmed up by then sometimes. So it's always an hour and a half, sometimes more, maybe an hour and 40.
All right.
It's also we start rehearsals tomorrow, so every tour we add we have a bunch of songs that we want to add to our set, so if they're all sounding good, then it'll be hard to kind of cut some down. So the set gets longer every tour, so we'll just see how many we have this time.
Do you usually do the same set at each show, or do you like to break it up a little bit?
Excuse me. We have a kind of a standard set, but depending on the venue and the audience, Billy will call some audibles, and sometimes he'll tell a few more stories here and there, and it just depends on the feel of the room and how the night's going. But we have a big list of songs we can draw from, and if we need to change some in or out to fit the mood, then that's what we do. But overall it's a pretty energetic rock and roll show.
All right. Is there anything that we missed for the interview? Yeah, we covered your albums, the tour. It starts April 4th in Billy in California, and then you're going to end it on the 9th in Tri Lakes, Colorado.
Yeah, that's it. Everything's available at www.theboxmasters.com.